If you could just go to lunch or dinner every day and turn that into 20 grand a month or more, would you? I think a lot of people would. That's what we're talking about today on this episode of Commissioned. What are some easy ways, looking you in the face, that you would actually enjoy taking on new clients, enjoy growing your business, instead of grinding away every day doing the stuff that you have to do, that you don't want to do, that you know would work, but you don't enjoy doing, and it's uncomfortable, so you find everything on earth to do other than doing that thing you need to do. What if you really could grab lunch, grab dinner, maybe breakfast or drinks or whatever, and that could turn into a big chunk of, if not all, of your sales, production, and income goal? Hey folks, I'm Todd Tramonte. I run a team and a coaching company right here in Dallas, Fort Worth. We do the shows, we do all sorts of stuff online, we host annual events, and really my passion is helping people get out of the chaos and the grind and the frustration of not producing in residential real estate the way you want, and getting into the freedom and the wealth and really the life you want to live by building a great business. This is Commissioned. I'm Todd Tramonte. Let's get right into it. All right, Ian Daniels is with me, my team lead, coach, and Reg's with me, and we're helping people figure this stuff out all the time. And I was just telling him before we hit record that I have a love-hate relationship with sports reporters. And we were sort of joking that sometimes you get a upfront, honest, in-your-face article that says, like, you know, the Dallas Mavericks are trading Luka Doncic to the Lakers, and then the whole city just cries because that's real.
It was very upsetting, let's be fair.
It was upsetting. I did, in fact, let go of my season tickets a couple weeks before that, and so I felt like my timing for once was pretty spectacular.
Same.
Okay. Separately, though, you also sometimes get some sports reporting that's like major trade proposal from LA to Dallas could shake up the whole NBA.
Yeah.
And then you read about it and it's like, this is just an idea that a sports writer had. And maybe it makes sense because of salary cap and team needs, but the teams are not yet involved. Okay, so that's my weird way of laying out this disclosure that I have never turned $2,000 a month into $20,000 a month with this strategy. But I have had huge success with all the core ideas and the philosophy of this strategy. So we're going to discuss it. We're going to talk about what we've seen our agents, coaching clients. I'll talk about some things I've done. I've got a book I want to recommend that some of the ideas I'll share are from, and we'll get into it. But before we do that, let me just say this. I don't normally share things from a you should go do this perspective that I haven't proven. This principle, this philosophy is proven. So I want to be really, really clear about this. This would absolutely work. Your numbers might not be 2 for 20. It might be 2 for 10 or 1 for 40. It might be 20 for 200. I don't know. But there's a good chance, a very good chance. I would say I would guarantee this to most of our listeners that are successful agents, scaling team leaders, or proven brokerage owners, meaning you've got a baseline of clients. You have a good database. You have some reviews. You have some trust in the marketplace. You're doing a little bit of marketing. You've got some things going. You've got some momentum out there. So if any or all of that is true, if even a decent bit of that is true for you, I'd probably stop just shy of guaranteeing it, but I'd make a big bet with you that this could work for you. So let me give a basic premise here, Ian, and then you can chop it up, beat it up, ask questions, add to it, whatever you want.
Sure.
What I'm proposing is this. Let's just say you're a team member.
Yeah.
And you're on a good team. I'm not even saying a great team. You're on a team where there are some leads. There's some accountability. There's some coaching. There's some technology and resources. And it doesn't have to be world-class, but like you've got some things going that if you're willing to grind, you can make a good living.
You're not by yourself. You've got some sort of structure in place.
Yeah, you don't show up every day going, I have no idea what to do.
Right.
So if you went and did the things you're being told and shown and encouraged to do, you could do fine. Maybe not break records, maybe not be killing, but you could do fine. If that's true for you, if you have some things going for you, and if you could set aside, I'm going to say $2,000. In a perfect world, you could set aside 3 months worth and you could set aside $6,000. But let's just say if you could set aside $2,000, and if you wanted to and you were willing to, let's just say 5 days a week, 4 weeks in a row. Let's just say a normal month, 4 weeks, 5 working days, primary working days. and you were willing to take somebody to lunch, maybe dinner, but let's just say lunch for our example, and you were willing to spend $100 on lunch.
A nice lunch.
It's a very nice lunch. That's kind of part of the strategy here, right? So let's just say lunch for two, tip and everything is $100. You can spend $40 to $50 a person, just whatever the math is. Okay. So that's either a decent steak type lunch or a good seafood or pretty darn good sushi or very, very good burger, barbecue. You know, you're talking about inviting someone to a lunch that they want to go to.
Yeah.
Right? If I called you and was like, hey, dude, you know, I haven't talked to you in a while. I'm your real estate person. You want to grab tacos? You might want to go, but you also might
Washing my hair or something.
be like, yeah, we should do that sometime. I'm busy. Let's connect again. Right. Well, intentions, whatever. Or like you said, or just no, I don't want to do that. Right. But if I called you and I was like, hey man, it's been a little while since we caught up. I've really been meaning to catch up with you. I would love to buy you lunch over at local steakhouse. Are you a sushi guy? I'm on a sushi kick lately, dude. I'd love to take you over to nice sushi place.
Much more of a chance for yes.
Right? You fill in that gap with like, oh, you're buying and we're going to that place. You're buying and we're going to that kind of place. And look, you're not going to invite people that are like, I do not want to have lunch with you. I don't like you. Right? So let's move on from that. All right. So now we've got a very high likelihood that people want to go.
Mm-hmm.
We have a very high likelihood that it's going to go well. The food's going to be good. The service is going to, that's the kind of place we're going. We also have a really high likelihood of what Robert Cialdini or Robert Cialdini, people say it two different ways, calls reciprocity in his book Influence. He's got other books, but his book Influence does a really good job. Probably the best I've ever seen of basic ethical creation of reciprocity, meaning I'm going to do something for you and you're instinctively going to want to do something for me. Not manipulative, but effective. So now I've taken you out to a nice lunch. I'll talk about some of the strategy of what to do at the lunch in a minute or dinner. And at the end of it, the person you've taken is like, that was great. The food was awesome. He bought, she bought, conversation was good. That was interesting and unique. I don't do that sort of thing all the time. Man, I'd like to return the favor. I'd like to help them in the ways that they helped me and serve me. If you did that and you were diligent to invite the right people and go to lunch with 20 different people, not the same 3 people 7 times each, do you think, hypothetical question, do you think you could get 1 to 2 clients a month from doing that?
I really do think so, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the odds are, I think you're looking at it on an average, right?
Of course,
so
all things.
you may not get any one month,
Right.
and you may get 3 or 4 another.
Right.
Like, you have to look at it from
Might
that.
get a small deal. You might get a
Yeah.
huge deal.
So as long
You
as
might-
you're not looking at it as like, I got nothing this month, it failed. Like, that's why I think you initially said, I think it'd be great if you could put 3 months to a side.
Yep.
Because we always, when we're talking to people about new strategies, we never tell somebody, go do it for a month. We're always telling people, you need to go and do this for 3 to 6 months
Exactly.
to really get a true idea of what's going to happen.
Yeah, because you just never know all the factors: seasonality, time in the market.
Right.
You were off, weren't feeling well. People are distracted by a war, whatever. So the idea here is that yes, on average, it would be pretty darn logical to say that if I bought a nice meal for 20 different people every month, I get to do something pretty cool. I get to go to nice restaurants almost every single day for lunch, have a nice meal with a legitimate business expense. I get to gift an incredible experience to people. And again, I'm going to talk in a minute about what to do at lunch that would make it a good experience. And I'm stirring up a lot of gratitude, a lot of reciprocity. These people are simply just going to be appreciative. They're going to like it. They're going to have fun. They're going to tell people about it. Maybe I don't get direct right now business, but I get referrals. Could I get reviews? Could I get introductions to other people? Could I get introductions to referral sources? Could I get introduction to good vendor partners? And could I save some money in my business expenses? Could I meet some incredible people that could teach me some things? Lots and lots and lots of really good things could happen. Most of us would like to believe that would work, but a lot of us have convinced ourselves that's not how this works. Now, I'm someone that typically says, I don't recommend a purely by referral only business. I recommend that you work at least 3 major sources. And then there is some wisdom in lead generation and traditional leads. My point is this could very likely be a big piece of your overall business. And again, remember my example in the beginning is you're a team member. Obviously, if you're a team leader, this could work for buyers. This could work for sellers. This could work for recruiting. This could work for finding great vendor partners. This could work for negotiating terms with different agreements around technology, title, mortgage, lender, appraiser, freaking electricians, plumbers, roofers, carpet cleaning, doesn't matter. All sorts of really good things. But you're talking about a leveraged goal here. I want clients, closings, referrals, at minimum reviews. And there's no high end here. You could end up having lunch with a home builder and getting 200 listings. That's just you could go bigger than that. You could create a custom program with a lender. You could end up getting involved in a development with somebody. It doesn't matter. My point is simply this. This very, very much could work. And I have seen it work. So I read a great book years and years ago by Michael Mayer called 7L, 7 Levels of Communication. I didn't write it. I don't make any money. I think if you're building a real estate team, you should read it. If you're an agent, you should definitely read it. In the book, he talks about something called a networking stack. And I did them for years and still do a version of it where I would pick one day and I would meet with 2 to 4 people, sometimes 5. This is just a variation of that. Imagine, Ian, if you went to the same 2 or 3 restaurants, a total of 20 times a month and spent $100-ish each time, how well you would be known by the manager, the waiter, the maitre d', the host, whatever you want to call it, how well they would treat you. And if you just said, hey, I'm about to meet with so-and-so, would you greet them by name and bring them back to my table? How willing they would be to do that.
Oh, I'm sure they would be. I mean, like our family, we go to a Tex-Mex restaurant.
Oh, I know.
And this is just our family. And we go, I mean, if it was up to my kids, I'd go every single day. But let's just call it every other week.
Okay.
And we've been going there for years.
And they treat you like total strangers.
Yeah, that's it. End of the story.
Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, like they dab us up when we get in. There's hugs. There's like, they know who we are. Like they know what we want to drink. They're bringing it to our table before we've even asked.
Yep.
They know what the appetizer is, like, because, and we have tipped them well, and we've made an effort to get to know who they are and who their kids are, and we get the same people every time.
Let me jump in because I would bet literally every single person listening right now could hear your smile. I mean, could hear that you freaking love.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That the waiter, waitress, manager, owners of this restaurant are fist bumping you on the way in.
Super fun.
Making sure the drinks that your family likes are already on the table. I'm sure they've like watched your kids grow up and there's all that chatter and all that. So imagine we're literally recording a podcast and you do this professionally and we're smiling from ear to ear just talking about this. Imagine the people that don't expect that as a gift from you. Mm-hmm. The experience that they're going to have walking into that that restaurant where they're like, oh, you're meeting with Ian Daniels. Oh, hold on a second. Let me take you to his table. His table? What are you talking about? So this book, 7L, 7 Levels of Communication by Michael Mayer, talks about a version of this called a networking stack. Not this nice of a meal, but this idea of the environment is impressive. The meal's impressive. You're a generous giver of gifts.
I mean, I did this on the flip side as well, because when I was in England, I would work in hotels and pubs and things. We would have the same regulars that would come in at the same times every day. Yep. And I knew they were coming. And as soon as I would see them pull up into the parking lot, I had their drink ready for them when they sat down. I mean, it was the same thing. And I did that to create the experience for them. I'd never read this book, but I wanted to create an experience. This is not
rocket science. Yeah, that's a good point. There's nothing brilliant about this, but the thing that most agents, team leaders, and brokers are overcoming is they don't think this is allowed. They don't think this would work. You can't build your business by like getting to go to awesome lunches every single day. You can. Now, here's what you got to do. First of all, it will take very real work to get 20 different people to confirm and show up for lunch every month. The other thing is this obviously starts getting harder month 4, month 3, right? When you're like, right. I need my 61st person to take to lunch. Now, maybe by then it's okay to start repeating 1 or 2 that have become like volume sources of business, or now you're saying thank you for something or that kind of thing. But the point here is that part is simple. Everything we've said so far is not that hard to do. Now you got to have some cash, but the bigger point is you have to then have a system. You have to have some discipline around inviting people. Who do you invite? Finding some new names and phone numbers, connecting with people. The first month, probably pretty easy. The second month, it already gets fairly tough. By that third or fourth month, you're going to have to be really looking for, hey, would you introduce me to so-and-so? I'd love to take them to lunch. Hey, who do you know that offers or does such and such? I'd like to take them to lunch. And then you have to actually follow through, get them to confirm, get it on the calendar, get them to show up and all that kind of stuff. So that takes work. But most people that I know would rather do that work than hammer the phones all day, or do 2 open houses every weekend, or knock on doors, or join 7 networking groups. And I don't even love any of those things, but those are the things people do.
Yeah.
Because A, they don't have to spend a ton of money up front, and B, that's what people say works. So I'm trying to free people up, and you don't have to do, this is an extreme version, but it does sound fun to me. And I'm about to embark on something similar to this for primarily recruiting reasons, but of course I'm interested in buyers and sellers as well. Now, I've told you what I've done. I've proven this principle with one-off dinners, with bringing in a private chef for dinners, with those networking stacks at a local entry-level steakhouse and all that. So here's what you do at the lunch. This is where it gets a little tougher, but not really, right? So let's just say I've invited you to lunch, Ian, and it's been an impressive entry and sit down, and you're probably saying something like, dude, what is going on? All these people know you by name. And I'm like, well, I actually come here a bunch. This is where I meet a lot of my favorite people, and I'm actually really excited to have lunch with you. How you been? How's the family? Right? So you do your Ford: family, occupation, recreation, dreams. It's just like, I'm just checking in. How are you? It's very simple stuff. If you respond and you're like, great, well, how are you? Then I might just answer traditionally. That family's wife, kids are great. Wife is good, kids are great. We went on this vacation, blah, blah, blah. I might, if the situation is right, I might go ahead and initiate some business talk and be like, I'm trying to recruit a couple agents right now, or, we're killing it for sellers right now, but people are really reluctant. So we're trying to find a few more sellers. Or I might just keep it all professional. Keep it all personal, social. That's what you did. That's what I do. Then I might start to ask, hey, is there anything I could do for you? I've just learned over the years that my favorite thing to do is just to serve people, meet a need, answer a question, scratch an itch. Is there anything that I could do, or that I have, or anybody that I know that could serve you? They're going to answer that. And then 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, well, what could I do for you? Mm-hmm. And now that's when I say, man, the biggest problem I have that I haven't been able to solve lately is I'm trying to add 2 new team members to our team. And if you knew anybody, or if you're interested, this is kind of what I'm looking for. All you got to do is text me, but that would be huge if you're willing to help. Thank you so much. Or, I specialize in helping people sell houses, and I try to help about 1 person a week. And it's been, a little bit slow lately. Things are good, but things have been a little bit slow. If you happen to know anybody that's going to sell a house in the next few months, man, I'd be honored with a text introduction if you would trust me with that. So that's all you have to do, is right? Ask about them, ask or offer to help them, add value for them, serve them. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to reciprocate and ask that. If they don't, this is the third thing. So number 1 is just connect relationally, socially. Number 2, offer to help them. They're almost always going to ask to how they can help you, and you answer that. If none of that happens, or even if all of that happens, then you simply can say something like this. Hey, Ian, no pressure, but if you and your wife, your family needed or wanted to buy or sell a house, do you have a go-to trusted, full-time, awesome, world-class professional that you would go to? And if not, is there anything I could do to earn that number 1 spot? And then you just shut up. That's as hard as it gets. And what's the worst thing somebody could say to you?
Yeah, I already have somebody.
I'm like, great. Who is it? It's my mom. She's been an agent for 40 years. She's fantastic. We love her. We trust her. That's fantastic. I'm certainly not going to try to take any business away from your mom. But if ever you have a friend or a family member that for whatever reason your mom doesn't want to work with, or they're not a fit, or they're in the wrong part of town, man, I'd love to be your backup. And if she were to ever get out of the business or anything like that, I'd love to earn that number 1 spot. Other than that, change the subject. Talk about 4th of July. Talk about picnics. Talk about vacations and back to school, whatever. That's it. That's what you could do And it wouldn't never be the same conversation twice because it's different people. But you could do that at one lunch, one dinner, one breakfast. I love breakfast, by the way, because it shows proactivity getting up. But this, you want to do something nice. You want to have a little bit bigger, better meal. You might, depending on you, your area, your people, have a drink or dessert or whatever. That's all up to you. But the point is, you're committing a decent budget, decent amount of time, decent amount of thoughtfulness and preparation. None of this is backbreaking, but it's not nothing. And the concept here is you could probably turn $1,000 into $10,000. You could turn $100 a day into a deal or two or three every single month. That might be your entire business. And by the way, you could get creative and you could curate some things, and maybe you invite more than one person, although I think this is a one-to-one strategy. Maybe you set up some unique food experiences or wine tastings or cool tables or chef's table or whatever that is. But my hope is that this is something that some people will truly run with. Other people will take and make their version of and implement this in your business. If you are interested in implementing this or other systems into your business, you can click the link near this episode. You should be able to jump onto my calendar. I don't have a ton of availability for stuff like this, but I love having conversations with successful agents, team leaders, brokers who are wanting to grow and scale. And we'll talk about implementing, a lunch strategy or getting high ROI on investments in your business or getting higher fees or growing or whatever it is. But I enjoy those. Those are totally free. We'll talk for 15 minutes or so, and I'll just help you however I can. If you want to talk about coaching or joining our mastermind or attending one of our events, absolutely be thrilled to talk to you about that as well, but no pressure. There's a link somewhere near this episode, this podcast, where you can get on my calendar. If all else fails and you'd like to join us for 2 days of conversations like this, our Real Growth Summit is coming up in September. And you can go to realgrowthsummit.com right now as of this recording. I don't know when you're listening, but as of this recording, there's still buy one, get one free tickets for the Real Growth Summit. This year's theme is double up, double your profit and double your impact, double your income and double your impact in your business. Build a business that supports the life you want to live. Real Geeks is our headline sponsor. We have a couple of other great event partners. There'll be panels. I'll do some keynotes. We'll have some other speakers. There'll be cocktail parties. It'll be great. Go to realgrowthsummit.com and you can still get BOGO tickets right now.